Hello everybody, welcome to Liverpool Central Station. Located right in the heart of the Liverpool city centre, it is the main merseyrail station where all the lines meet and is a major interchange station for local services within Liverpool and the surrounding areas. It is incredibly busy and quite stressful for me to film, but I've got some pictures, but I promise I will film a lot more when there's people. But when you get down to the main Northern Line platforms, at the low level platforms, you can see that we'll be exploring the Hunts Cross branch, which was the bottom one on that little route map there. And it is also the busiest underground railway station outside of London in the UK. There are a lot of people here and a lot of trains passing here, and this is just the Northern Line platforms. There are also the deep level Wirral Line platforms with services running to the Wirral. And I will be covering those services later on in the series, but this is part one, where I will be visiting every station from Liverpool Central to Hunts Cross. These platforms opened in 1874, with the deep level platforms opening in 1892, which was back before Merseyrail existed and multiple companies operated these railways with steam trains back then. And you can see in some of the tunnels that there are little holes which the steam would have come out through, very obviously not Liverpool Square. But we are boarding this Hunts Cross train. This will take us to our first station of Brunswick. Quite a lot of the journey between Liverpool Central and Brunswick is in this cutting, which is sometimes covered, sometimes isn't. And there's another station which might be opening near the Baltic Triangle, which will be called Liverpool Baltic, which used to be called Liverpool James Street back when it was opened. However, this closed over a century ago. And here we are at Brunswick Station. This opened in 1864 by the Garson Liverpool Railway and is the first intermediate station between Liverpool Central and Hunts Cross. It is fully step-free accessible, which not all of the stations are, but it's only by this ramp, so if you're in a wheelchair and you don't like going on ramps, not quite for you. But it's quite recognisable with this structure, which looks like it could have a lift, which it does on that platform, but not on the other platform. The station can also be used for people just moving around in the area, so you might see some people walking over the footbridge to just cross over the tracks as if it was sort of a public bridge. And it has a ticket office and just standard facilities. There's also a toilet, and it's well signposted, it's easy to get around. It's quite quiet too, there weren't too many people, especially on the Hunts Cross bound platform, since most people would be going into town anyway. I'm not sure why it does that. Information shows the route map, train timetables, and this is the new tap and go system they've been setting up at all the stations, where you can now tap in with your credit card like on the London Underground. And here comes the train that I will be taking one stop down the line to St Michael's. A decent portion of this journey is spent travelling through this tunnel, which goes underneath Dingle, and it is quite long. And here we are at St Michael's. This opened in 1864, but closed in 1972 and reopened in 1978. I couldn't find out exactly why, but these new lifts were installed only a couple of years ago. It's quite a peaceful station. I think it's the busiest and most used along the Liverpool Central to Hunts Cross line. It mainly serves the local suburbs in the area. And also Sefton Park nearby is often used in events such as music festivals, which often take place there, meaning trains in and out of the station do get incredibly busy at times. It gets pretty busy with commuters regularly, but you can also see that the second and third photos I took during the day of one of these music festivals, it get incredibly busy. But it is quite a nice little station. I have already visited all of the Merseyrail stations myself. I'm just covering them again for the YouTube video. But this is quite a nice one. It also feels a lot bigger than the other ones. They are quite peaceful on this line. But anyway, I'm going to jump on this Hunts Cross bound train. And you know the drill, I'm going to take it one stop down to the next station of Aigburth.
This is Aigburth. Please take care as you leave the train.
Welcome to Aigburth Station. This station opened in 1864 by the and it is currently Liverpool Railway, getting new lifts of the other stations on this line. And it's getting new lifts a couple of years ago. You can see in the videos of the construction, which will make it accessible, because currently it's only accessible by steps. Which is good, because at the moment it's only accessible by steps. But it's a lot smaller than St Michael's, this one. The station felt a bit more peaceful than St Michael's did. It's a bit quieter, a bit smaller, and a bit less getting noisy. New lifts is good, because it's now it also does have fewer passengers using the local suburbs. And all the stations on this, which I've necessarily get a train every 15 minutes. So it's really nice waiting shelters every half an hour on both platforms, and which is good. Around 8:30. It's got more waiting shelters than St Michael's does actually. So they are quite well served. Bus shelters. They don't tend to get too busy. Brunswick, and even run 8-car trains sometimes. However, this is a bit of a problem at the next station. But anyway, you'll see why soon. I'm going to jump on this train, one stop down to Cressington. But anyway, let's jump onto this train and take it one step down to Cressington.
Take care as you leave the train.
And welcome to Cressington. Yes, I did run up onto the bridge to get a video of another train leaving that arrived not long after mine arrived. Now, I mentioned before about a problem with 8-car trains at this station, which just have a car park and they're rather nice station building. But when they run 8-car trains up this line, they don't fit on the platforms. Platforms are too short, and this staircase is the only way down to the platforms. Same with the other platforms. It's not accessible at the moment. I'm guessing it'll be getting lifts soon, since Merseyrail do have a plan to be fully step-free accessible at every station at some point. I'm not sure if you've got a target of when, but they might do. But when they run 8-car trains, they can't stop at the station, since the trains don't have selective door opening. They don't always open all the doors, and they can't stop at the station. They might be testing it. I've seen them only opening the back door with 8-car trains on the line. But the platforms are incredibly narrow, so if you don't have people going there and gone there anyway, you just have danger and it doesn't see your hands. But Anyway, on to the next station, which is quite an interesting one, Liverpool South Parkway. See you there.
For national rail connections and bus services to Liverpool John Lennon Airport, please leave the train at Liverpool South Parkway.
And welcome to Liverpool South Parkway station. This is quite an interesting one, since it actually opened in June of 2006, rather than the usual 1864 on this line. And this is because it was built as an interchange between Merseyrail trains and National Rail trains. As you can see on this timetable here, it's not a timetable, it's a route map, sorry. But you can catch trains to Birmingham, Chester, and even London recently. Also Norwich and Cleethorpes and Manchester quite regularly. Trains go through this station to Liverpool Lime Street all the time. And obviously we've got the Merseyrail stations. It feels quite modern, this station. A lot more modern than the other stations on this line. It's very different, it's quite unique, since it was built so recently. Well, compared to the other stations anyway. And it's also got bus connections to Liverpool John Lennon Airport, which still doesn't have any kind of rail connections. But you can get on a bus to Love John Lennon Airport. And also on the way back, that train you just saw on that bridge, that ran from Birmingham New Street back to Liverpool. There are a lot of people saying that there should be a rail link between John Lennon Airport and South Parkway Station, and that would be quite good actually, because rail services directly to the airport would benefit a lot of people. It will be easier than changing and then taking the bus too, since they're not special airport buses, they're just regular city buses, and there's not loads of space for luggage. A lot of people just tend to take a taxi to the airport if they can't drive there, which can get quite expensive. However, if you're coming from somewhere further away, that wouldn't be very doable, so it will be very good for that. But anyway, I'm going to jump on this to the last stop of Hunts Cross. I'll see you there. So trains run from Ormskirk to Hunts Cross through town. This used to be from Southport, however it has changed to Ormskirk. And we are passing a depot, Allerton Train Care Depot, where Northern then maintains most of its EMUs. And there's a lot of Class 323s and 331s. It's mostly EMUs, and you can also see Class 769s. And there's also a few diesel multiple units. I've seen 150s, 156s, the Northern Sprinters. And we are starting to reach the end of the line here. And we're actually starting to share the track with National Rail services. This East Midlands Railway Class 170 came from Norwich and it's running back to Liverpool. Actually Peterborough because of where going on at the time I was filming this, but normally Norwich. And we are now arriving at the terminus of this line, Hunts Cross.
Hunts Cross, where this train terminates. Please take care as you leave the train.
Welcome to Hunts Cross, the terminus of Merseyrail's line, which opened in 1873. It shares track with the National Rail trains, and the only trains that really stop here regularly are the Northern stopping services between Liverpool Lime Street and Liverpool Central. However, the East Midlands Railway services through to Norwich do occasionally stop here. I've benefited from that on the way back from Manchester once, and changed straight to Merseyrail to go home. I do live on the Merseyrail network, I won't be saying where, but it's my local network, and I have visited every station, but I'm covering them all again for my YouTube. But anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Now I'm off to go to every station on the Headbolt Lane branch to film part 2 of this series, which will be out next Sunday at 10 AM. I'm also editing them both at the same time, so thanks for watching. Please like the video, subscribe to my channel to see more updates and see plenty more training content I'm working on. Comment if there's any way I could improve or if you enjoyed it. And thanks for watching. Bye.